Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
The greatest, just the greatest. Johnny Carson is Karnak the Magnificent. Nearly 30 years after his passing, a much-anticipated biography of the late-night legend is finally being released.
The book is called Carson the Magnificent, and Mike Thomas, who got the biography to the finish line after the untimely death of Chicago's own Bill Zamy, is here with us to discuss the legend of Carson and the book's 20-year odyssey. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
It's great to be with you.
Mike.
So Bill sat in that very chair.
He did. I'm honored.
And told us that he was working on this and the progress that he was making. That's when his cancer came back, flared up again, and
Yeah,
took
it did.
him
He
away
loved
from us.
coming on with you guys, so I'm honored to be here. But yeah, it's been a long time in the making, but it's finally here.
So you jump in with all these notes or whatever, and you're trying to make sense of all this. Was something jump out at you, or did you have a sense of his direction, or?
I finally knew why he was so overwhelmed. When I walked into his storage locker on the north side of Chicago and saw all the Carsonia he had amassed, the binders and the ugly Johnny Carson ties and the big pink check that Johnny had written to Doc Severinsen back in the day. He had so much material, I really needed nothing else, but it was a matter of sorting through it and deciding what I needed for the final stretch.
Was it all just like, raw information at that point, or had he actually started writing? Were chapters already done?
Yes, he had written about 3/4 of what you see in the finished book here. So I was kind of charged with taking Johnny from New York to LA, but as you'll see when you read the book, Bill had already flashed forward in little bits and parts, so you see bits of Johnny's later life in the early parts of the book. But I took a more linear approach and took Johnny from New York to LA through his death in 2005.
So Bill famously did that Esquire interview with him after he was in retirement. We hadn't heard from him in a long time. What do we learn? Why did it take so long? What more was there to learn about Johnny that took so long to do this book?
There was just a lot. I mean, Johnny was a giant figure in Bill's life. I mean, more so than even Frank Sinatra, who's a huge figure, and Hugh Hefner was a huge figure. Johnny Carson was the one he identified with most closely, and I think he had this thing where he didn't want to miss anything, and so he would always be interviewing somebody who was, 3 people removed from Johnny, just to get that extra Johnny story. And I swear there is nothing he didn't collect in terms of artifacts, and there were hundreds and hundreds of interviews already transcribed and in binders, and I just think it became overwhelming at some point. And he also couldn't quite figure Johnny out to his liking. Johnny was not like Frank Sinatra. He was not a guy who lived life on the outside overtly. He was a very interior guy, and so mining who Johnny was became very difficult.
I always wondered why it was, maybe you were able to determine this by going through all of the notes, and why Bill was the only one who was ever granted an interview with the very reclusive Johnny Carson.
It's interesting. I think part of it was their shared Midwesternness. Johnny's Nebraska, Bill grew up in South Holland here. But part of it was Bill played the long game. He pursued Johnny for a full decade before Johnny finally sat down with him for an interview. I found this letter. Bill kept everything, printouts of letters and emails. And I found this old Rolling Stone letter that Bill had written to his editor at Rolling Stone, Bob Wallace, in 1991. Saying, I think it's finally time to pursue Johnny, because Johnny was entering his final year in The Tonight Show. And so they draft this letter, from Jan Wenner, who's the publisher of Rolling Stone, and they send it off to NBC Media Relations. Johnny, unfortunately, can't sit down with them. He's being barraged at that time. But Bill finagles his way backstage and gets to kind of hang in the vicinity of Johnny Carson, and he writes his appreciation for Rolling Stone. And then as the years progress, Johnny retires in '92. Bill stops into his retirement offices in Santa Monica and gets to know the staff. And once in a while, Johnny will come by and they talk a little bit in the hallway. And finally, and I believe it was 2001, Johnny and he are talking in the hallway. Bill, of course, can't believe it. Here's his hero. And Johnny says, how about we grab some lunch? And that's when they sit down and have this extended talk.
And he's quite a contradiction in that everybody loves Johnny Carson. He's so personable, but he's kind of got this dark insight. What is the dark psychology of his life or his childhood that he finds it difficult to have real relationships that aren't the one on the other side of the lens?
I think a lot of it, and this is not atypical, goes back to his mother, who was very emotionally withholding. Even as Johnny became a superstar, she was at pains to express any sort of pride in his work. It's interesting, though, in later years, they found a scrapbook that she had actually kept of all of his early clippings.
Oh, wow.
And so there was a pride there. She just couldn't bring herself to express it. And of course, that bleeds into everything else. It's the psychology cliche, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. So that was Johnny Carson.
Is there a story that people will love to hear, like you found a nugget and you went, oh my gosh, this is going to be great?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nuance in this book that there wasn't in other books. I especially like the way Bill humanized Johnny and got people to talk about him in a way that humanized him. I mean, plenty of bad behavior on Carson's part, obviously. We know about all that. This is warts and all. But I was surprised to find stories about how Johnny reacted when his son died, for instance. His son Ricky died. And Johnny could never express love for his kids the way he wanted to. And you can see how much he truly loved Ricky when he died in terms of how he mourned and the grief he felt, and it never left him till the end of his life. So that really was something that impressed me.
Must be very gratifying for you as a close friend of Bill, but also his sister who cared for him during his cancer battle, and other close people, to see this final project, one that was so close to Bill, finally being completed.
I mean, it was incredible just finally getting my hands on an actual book and seeing our names together there on the cover. I had been in the acknowledgments of a few books we did together when I was Bill's research assistant back in the day. You know, Jay Leno, Frank Sinatra book, an Andy Kaufman book. We did a Regis Philbin book together,
right.
But I'd never been on the cover with him. So it's really, it's a great honor to see it.
The book is called Carson the Magnificent. The Instagram is at Carson the Mag. The book is out tomorrow.
Book is out tomorrow, official
Out tomorrow,
publication day.
Mike Thomas, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.